Delissa Kimmins, welcome to the Brisbane Heat podcast. Is this your podcast debut?
It is. Thank you for having me.
You're actually following AB de Villiers, so you're in pretty good company.
Well, let's hope I can stand up to his qualities and I can get as many followers as him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Did I say your name right? Is it Delissa or Delisa, or is it both?
Well, Mum and Dad say Delisa,
Okay.
but then they spell it like Melissa, so it's nor here nor there. DK is fine.
Yeah, because I've known you for, 6 years or something now, and I think you were introducing yourself to someone else and you said Delisa, and I said, I've always called you Delissa, and that threw me massively.
I just blamed that on Mum and Dad.
Okay.
I think they were drunk when they named me or something, I'm not sure. But D or DK is fine. It's spelled like Melissa, but they say Delisa, so I'm not sure.
Well, let's run with DK then.
Yeah, much easier.
Yeah. The last 12 months for you have been pretty massive. So World Cup title last November, December, WBBL championships, Ashes, 18 ODI wins in a row. You're part of that. Tell us about the last 12 months for you.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy. I don't think I've really spent much time at home, and it's sort of hard. I guess you don't really reflect on that stuff at the time, and sort of when you start saying it, you go, oh yeah, that was only the last sort of 12 months that's all happened. And it's I've really enjoyed my cricket at the moment, and I think we are as a group, which is I guess why we're getting the success we're getting on the field. And I think there's a lot more coming, obviously in the next few months with the World Cup, not too far away.
With that World Cup and then WBBL championship back to back, can you be honest and tell us which one was sweeter to win?
They're hard. It's hard to separate them, to be honest. I think the T20 World Cup, obviously to be a part of it, and I've been a part of a few World Cups now where I've just run drinks. So to actually be in the starting 11 and out on the field and have that whole emotion, I find often when you run drinks, you don't get the emotional ups and downs of what's happening on the field. To sort of be out there and win that, I guess to finally be a part of the 11 out on the field and not running drinks, for me, I guess that was a pretty special moment. But then I guess winning the WBBL, I guess just with your mates, and I think this is the thing that's really hard to, I guess, divide is I've trained and played with those girls, from the pre-seasons 10 years over, to finally come out and win a championship. We've been close before, but we've often fallen short, and people pretty much were the underdogs. They don't ever really back us to win those sorts of titles. So to do it with people that you train your ass off with, day in, day out, that's sort of hard to split, but I find doing it with my mates that I've been, in it for nearly 10 years with, to finally lift a trophy like that was, it's a pretty amazing day for us. And definitely one I won't ever forget.
Let's talk about that journey a little bit, because was it 18 and you were 18 in 2009, you were part of was it the one day World Cup in Australia? And I saw an article that you wrote recently about your career, and you said you just hated the experience, or you hated cricket at the time. Like, you're playing for Australia. It's hard to fathom as a fan why someone playing for Australia in a World Cup would hate the experience, but can you tell us about that?
It was the 2009 one day World Cup it was in Sydney. I guess it was just the point in my life I sort of wasn't enjoying, I guess, my life outside of cricket, and I really hated cricket at that time as well. I just had fallen out of love with it, and I sort of look back and I sort of feel embarrassed to say that, whilst I was representing my country and wearing the green and gold, which is what so many people strive to do, I actually hated every second I was there. And now I look back, it really saddens me to say that, when you're representing your country, it should be the highlight of your career. And it just wasn't for me at that time.
Particularly at 18, I'm sure that you're probably living a lot of people's dreams, but what did you do after that? You took a bit of a break from cricket, right?
Yeah, so I remember Belinda Clark rang me and offered me another contract, and I just rejected it. I just said at that point in time, I just felt I couldn't fulfill the requirements, I guess, that they were asking in terms of, all the gym and fitness and skills and training camps and things like that. I couldn't give it 100%. I just said, I know that there's someone else out there that can give you what you need, and at the moment that wasn't me. And so I decided to step away from cricket altogether, and I went back and just played soccer. I'm at Runcorn in Brisbane for South United, and just try to get a friendship group, I guess, away from cricket, because when I moved to Brisbane, the only friends I sort of had were cricket based, and I found that really difficult. So I just played soccer for a little bit, and then sort of I was washing cars, and I just felt like I didn't know where I was going in life, and I decided to apply for my visa to the UK, and sort of that got approved, and then within a month I was standing over there thinking, what the hell are you doing? I had no plans. I was couch surfing. I sort of had spent my money that I'd saved to get over there. So I was sort of, a real whirlwind sort of experience. And I guess living over in the UK was, I sort of say now, some of your biggest mistakes can end up being your best mistakes. And I think if I hadn't had done that, I'm not sure if I would have ever come back to play cricket.
You did play some games over there, so you joined a club or something over in the UK?
Yeah, so I was living and working at a pub at the time in central London, and the lady that managed the pub was really into her cricket, so she sort of encouraged me to go. They helped me find a club over there, and then I ended up playing some county cricket for Warwickshire, where although it was a 3-hour train ride, I sort of just got the train to wherever they were playing and just played with them. And I guess it really taught me how much pressure we put on ourselves. When you're training all the time and then you can go out there and get a duck, it's sort of, it's very deflating as a player when you feel like you put so much time and effort into your game and then you can't capitalise in a game. It just really taught me that I wasn't training, I was just rocking up and playing, that I had that freedom, I felt no pressure, and I started to perform really well. And it just, taught me that sometimes we put so much expectation and pressure on ourselves that it actually has a worse effect than just going out there and enjoying the game.
I was creeping on your Instagram in preparedness for this interview, and one of the posts I think was from that period, maybe 2012, and you're out in the cricket field and the caption was, I haven't smiled like this or felt like this on a cricket field in so long. Did that rekindle your love of the game, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the people, and it's hard. I think I've learnt that, or there was sort of one phrase that I sort of reflected back to was appreciation versus expectation. And sometimes we don't appreciate where we are and we put all the expectation on ourselves. And that's just something that stuck with me, I guess, in that time. And I guess it took me to step away from the game to really appreciate, I guess, where I was and how good I could be. I think, the sooner you can accept that some days in cricket it's going to work and some days it isn't going to work, I think the more you start to enjoy the game.
What's your mindset with cricket now? Do you enjoy the game? Do you treat it like it's your profession because you're a full-time cricketer?
I have my ups and downs, obviously. I think sometimes if I feel I guess the first round of this WBBL, playing the Sixers, having that, grand final rematch, it's sort of, you don't want to think about it. It's hard not to reflect, and, you want to do well. And I just sort of then try and focus as if it's another game of club cricket. Try and take the cameras and the TV sort of element away from it. And, it's just another game of club cricket. You know what to do. You've done it 1,000 times. And even when I was at the World Cup, that's sort of how I try and reflect. Just go, if I feel like it's a game that's really going to, sort of play in my head or whatever, I just try and go, it's another game of club cricket. Like, you've done it all before. It's just another game of cricket, and try not put, I guess, whatever colour you're wearing at the time into that perspective, and just, sort of reflect back to the basics. And that's sort of what I do.
Well, let's flip back to WBBL 01 then, because you started off captaining the Heat. Did the whole season as captain? I can't remember.
I think the first season I did, and then halfway through the second I stood down.
What did you enjoy captaincy, or why did you step down?
I think at the time, the way I felt I wanted the team to play T20 cricket, and I guess the coaching staff had a different plan. And I felt it was really hard to captain to something where I wasn't able to freely go out there and, I guess, play the way I thought the game should be played. And I guess after that first year, it was so big. Like, obviously there was a lot of media around it, and I just felt so drained after that first year. And I like the on-field stuff. I hate all the off-field. You know, it's all the meetings, it's all the, you know, I guess the radio stuff after, the TV interviews, I just find that stuff really draining. And I felt after that first year, I was sort of sliding back into that hate of cricket.
Okay.
And that's where I sort of said to Richo, I think in the off season, I'm going to have to go play another sport just to switch off from cricket and get away. And that's obviously when I fell into the whole AFL sort of scene.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because you'd be there was a couple of players that would have played first year WBBL, first year AFLW. Yourself, Jess Duffin, was there someone else? But
there was someone else. It's rude of me. Nat Plain at the time was playing for Renegades as well.
Tell us about the Brisbane Lions experience, because that's really unique, having played in two pretty revolutionary female competitions.
Yeah, I guess I was really lucky with Stas had sort of contacted Queensland Cricket before he approached me about the rookie contract with the Brisbane Lions. And
that's the Lions coach.
Yeah, Craig Stasovich. Yeah. So I remember at a few club games, he was sort of stalking me a little bit, and every time I was going to my car, he's like, what's your plans with AFL? And I was like, I got no plans. Like, I'm just here to get away from cricket. It's like, you know, just sort of switch off from cricket and just do something else completely different. And a few games after every game, he'd come up to me again and say, what are your plans? I'm like, I don't have any plans. And then he chatted with Andy Richards, the Heat coach at the time, and to his credit, like, they sort of had spoke before before Stas had come to me and asked me if I wanted to be a rookie. And I think I was really lucky that both organisations were, you know, on board with it, but really flexible at the same time to allow me, I guess, what I needed for cricket and then the flip side of what I needed for AFL. So, yeah, it was pretty special, I guess, to be a part of both inaugural competitions and just to see how different sports are run, I guess. And, yeah, I was one of the lucky ones, I guess, that got to do both.
Were you ever thinking you'd pursue AFLW long term and not play cricket, or was it just a side project for you?
Yeah, it's probably more of a side project. I didn't think I'd ever, I guess, play AFL longer than a few years. And I think initially with how my body was, you know, I thought if I could get a few years out of it and just do something different, that would be ideal. And I love the physical side of AFL. I think sometimes in cricket when you're frustrated and, you know, annoyed, there's not a lot you can do. You know, you sort of get in trouble if you have bad body language or they try and tell you to stay upbeat. But I think in AFL, you know, if you drop a mark, you just smash the next person who picks the ball up, or you chase harder, or yeah, I sort of really enjoyed that side of it in terms of that. So I've sort of in cricket now turned to boxing a little bit when I get
really
frustrated.
Hip and shoulder anyone.
No, as much as I'd love to, you can't do it. So yeah, I think for me, AFL was never going to be a long-term thing, but at the time, it was definitely what I needed to do.
What else did you play growing up? Did you play Aussie rules, or did you play soccer, or what were you into?
So growing up in Warwick, I sort of, you know, I'd played everything. I'd played soccer, cricket, tennis, futsal. I'd done athletics. I played netball at school just to get days off school, basically, not because I liked it. So I've sort of grown up playing a bit of everything, and I think that helps when you want to transition to different sports. I think if you've got basic hand-eye coordination, you can pretty much cash on to everything. I played that whole year of AFL and didn't even know the rules. So.
What about growing up then playing cricket? Were you playing girls cricket or was it boys cricket?
I played mainly boys cricket, but there was on a Saturday morning, one of the school teachers sort of had like a girls cricket where we went to a school and we did basic like skills-based stuff and then played like, we used to call it used to be Super 8s back in the day, just with one another. But then I think being the competitive person I was, I wanted that something more, which is I started just playing club cricket with the boys back home, and yeah, sort of just went from there.
Are you a bit of a celebrity in Warwick now? Do you walk down the street and people ask for your autographs and stuff?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a celebrity. I think people know who I am and there's always stuff in the paper, but I think in country towns like that, people have known you since you were little, so I don't think they ever think of you as a celebrity, but just, you know, I guess someone from their area that's representing them as well as your country or your state.
Is your family still back in Warwick?
My auntie and uncle and grandma are, and obviously family friends, but my mum and dad actually moved to Western Australia 6 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah, you had a full house of Kimmins at Perth Stadium last year, right, for the WBBL match?
Yeah, so mum and dad usually try and they try and come up to everything that they can, and they bring all their sort of friends that they've made along the way over there as well. So yeah, it's nice. I think they're off to watch the Scorchers game today and support Gemma, who's been a good, I guess, friend of mine and a family friend of ours for a long time now. So yeah, I think they're excited to go see her.
How was it playing against Gemma? Because you said she's been part of the fire squad for so long, came in as a young age and part of the Brisbane Heat Championship team. Was it bittersweet seeing her go, and was it hard to play against her, or was it fun?
To be honest, we were sort of with her when we were over on Stratty camping in the off season when there was Sammy, Laura, myself, and Gemma over there, and she sort of brought it up that she was thinking about going elsewhere. And you try your best to talk her out of it, because I guess growing up together, and for me it was more, I didn't think I'd ever have to play against one of my good mates. I feel like when you've got mates like that, you think they're going to be your teammates. You're never going to play against them. And so we sort of just said to her, you got to do what's right for you. And, I guess that's the beauty of this competition now. It has so many opportunities for girls to go elsewhere to try and, I guess broaden their horizons and get better. And I think when she did tell me that she'd actually signed the deal to go there, I just remember turning around to Laura and saying, I could quit cricket. I don't want to play against my best mates. Like, I've always visioned playing cricket with my mates and not against them. And yeah, it did sadden me to know that I'd be playing against her. And I was definitely nervous the other day if I was going to have to bowl to her, because I know if she hit me for a boundary, I'd not hear the end of it. Yeah, it was good to see her for a little bit. I feel like obviously we've been away for such a long time, and the pre-season leading into the season, that I haven't really seen her. And, I've only sort of got after the game, and I saw her for 5 minutes before they left on the Sunday. But, good on her for, I guess, taking the leap and moving. But yeah, it's definitely sad playing a bit against your good mates.
Well, it's probably an indication of where the game has evolved for women's cricketers in terms of new opportunities, new clubs. Personally, how have you seen the game change in that 10-year period since you started out as an 18-year-old playing for Australia?
Yeah, it's funny. I think just in the recent series against Sri Lanka, I was getting my whole body strapped like I have to these days. And Ray Chain said to me, "Oh, you must be one of the most well-rounded people here. You've had that many jobs and, different jobs of that. I've worked in a meatworks, I've washed cars, I've babysat, I've worked for a taxi company. I've done so much weird stuff, but just to get by with cricket." And I think that's the beauty of it now is, the Australian girls are obviously professional athletes, and we solely get to focus on cricket, where, when I first started, I think we used to get $150 to play a game, and we were training 6 a.m, going to work, coming back in the afternoon, and we're doing that, 4 times a week, then playing club cricket on a weekend. And it's tiring. You feel like you've got no time for nothing else. And I guess just from those days, and then now seeing, WBBL start, and just how much that's changed the games in terms of, supporters that we get. And I find it's not only the young girls, but there's so many young boys that come and watch as well. And I had a young boy at one of our games. He was wearing a Stars. This is when Meg was playing for the Stars, and he had a Stars shirt on. And I said, "Oh, do you know someone who plays for the Melbourne Stars?" And he just said, he would have been 8 or 9, I reckon. He just said, "No, Meg Lanning's my favourite player." And I think that's the beauty of where our game's gone, is now not only young girls, but, as a young girl, I looked up to Ricky Ponting. But now we've got young boys looking up to female athletes as their favourite players. And I think for me, that's the most satisfying part, is it's not just young girls looking up to us, it's young boys looking up to us as role models as well.
Yeah, we were doing a shoot a couple of years ago with Ricky Ponting, and I think I emailed you to see if you wanted to do it, and you came back within about 30 seconds saying, "Yes, I love Ricky Ponting." Do you have any other heroes? Did you have any female heroes actually, or was it just the male players?
So obviously Ricky Ponting was my main cricket idol, more for his fielding, to be honest. I didn't really care about his batting at the time, but I just loved the way he was in the field and how energetic, and just the stuff he did was always, I wanted to always be that person. And then I guess Karen Rolton as a female, Dad took me to, I think it was Australia versus New Zealand when it used to be the Rose Bowl they were playing at AB. I reckon I was 14 at the time, and she opened the batting and then opened the bowling. And I just remember going to Dad, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to open the batting, I want to open the bowling. And yeah, I guess, and just from watching that, that was always just sort of, I guess for me, the only female cricketer I really looked up to.
Was it an obvious pathway? Did you know that? How could you go and play for Australia? Was that clear to you?
Not back then. I used to try out for all the boys' teams. But then obviously living in the country, they just only end up picking me as a shadow player because they're like, we have no female like coach or manager to go away. And at that time, Mum and Dad couldn't go away for a week to let me go away. So it was actually one of the regional cricket managers in Toowoomba at the time who gave my name to Queensland Cricket, because he just said, oh, you're wasting your time. Like, you're coming to all this stuff, but you can't go away. So I think when I was 13, I went to my first under-17 Queensland camp in Brisbane, and sort of just since then had my foot in the door, I guess. And yeah, probably wasn't until then I sort of knew what the pathway was, but before that it was just playing with the boys.
I've just noticed your big ring on your finger. Tell us about the engagement, because that's a very fresh thing. And is the story true that you said after we won the title that you'd put a ring on it, but it's taken a while to do?
Yeah, I did say we were over in a shopping centre. We were actually getting our eyebrows done the day before the finals. You know, you got to look good for these big events. So, and I remember there was a jeweller's across the road, and I was waiting for Gemma and Sammy to get their eyebrows done, and Laura and I were just having a little look in the jeweller's, and Sammy Snapchatted it and had said, oh, look, finally looking at a ring. And as we were walking back over, I said, look, if we win the final, I'll buy her a ring. And then obviously we won, and Gemma comes straight over and she was jumping on it. She's like, congratulations. And I was like, I don't have a ring. She's like, but you said. And I said, yeah, but I learned a valuable lesson that you should think before you speak that day. And yeah, like, obviously, well, the hardest part was she broke her ring finger. So she's got 2 screws that, like, it was so hard. We had to end up buying the rings together just because I didn't know what size it was, and it was all too hard, basically. And then when we're over in the West Indies, I rung her dad. And then, yeah, I was like, we had 5 days between when we got back from the West Indies and started Sri Lanka. And I thought, I just need to do it. I'm sick of having it hang over my head. So Wednesday was the last chance I could do it, because she was on night shift as well. So she was sleeping most days, getting up, going to work.
She's a nurse, just to clarify. Yeah.
Laura's a nurse, yep. So she was actually asleep at the time, so I'm trying to set everything up and not wake her. And then when she woke up, I had it sort of set up out on the deck area at home. And yeah, she thinks it was great. She got up, had a glass of Moscato, went back to bed, and then went to work. And I didn't see her again for another week. So yeah, it was pretty funny. But I guess we've been together for 4 and a bit years now, so I think everyone thought it was coming.
How do you go having that relationship in the team environment?
I hate it. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that, but yeah, I don't really like it. I find it's hard to get away from cricket. You know, I like when she goes to work because she comes back with good stories, and, you know, it's something different, and I don't know anything about her work, where, you know, it's like if your wife follows you to work, she sort of knows what happens. And I feel like, yeah, conversation sometimes gets a bit boring because everything falls back to cricket chat. And yeah, I've never been a huge fan of it, to be honest. But at the same time, I can't really tell her to not play. I feel that's very selfish of me at the same time. So yeah, we've sort of just had to, you know, it has its moments where we don't get along, and yeah, I just find sometimes it can be a bit awkward because you don't want every conversation to fall back to cricket. So I might have to tell her to go back to her work more so we have more conversations.
What's Grace going to be like as a sister-in-law officially?
I hope she just gets mic'd up all the time, to be honest. No, they're pretty good, to be honest, away from cricket. You know, we've obviously bought the house and we're doing a lot of house renos, and they all sort of come up and chip in and help, which is good. It means I don't have to do it all. So, yeah, away from cricket, they're fine. I think it's the same sort of thing, though. You sort of can sometimes just get stuck in cricket conversations at family functions. But, yeah, I guess if we can take the focus away from that, it won't be too bad.
Well, DK, we're coming to the end, but I want to finish on the final over, which is 6 questions. So 6 balls. We just need 1 or 2 word answers just so the Heat fans out there can get to know you a little bit more. What's your favourite thing about living in Brisbane?
Oh, favourite thing. I think this is not a one-word answer, but the laid-back feel about Brisbane.
Yeah, most people say, yeah, people or weather or something like that. So
Yeah, I think it's just the laid-back feel. I think, you know, in Sydney and Melbourne, it feels like everything's rushed all the time, but Brisbane's got a bit more laid-back feel.
do you have a favourite teammate, and not including Laura?
I'd have to say Sammy Jo and Gemma when she was here. They're my two favourites.
We've already kind of covered this one, but I want to know your favourite player of all time, and maybe favourite male player, favourite female player.
Yeah, so Ricky Ponting, my favourite male, and Karen Rolton is my favourite female.
Who's the last teammate you'd want to be stuck in a lift with?
Georgia Presswidge,
Okay.
for obvious reasons. It doesn't smell that good when you get out.
Okay, well, we won't go there. What's your favourite food?
Mexican.
If you weren't professional at any other sport apart from cricket, which sport would you choose?
Ooh. Tennis, because I want to beat Barty.
Oh, yeah. Well, just on Ash. Well, I was going to finish it up, but may as well ask you a little bit about Ash. You're still pretty close with her. What are your memories of that first season with Ash playing?
It's hard. There's sort of a lot when she sort of come in, the amount of balls she'd come and hit. I think, gosh, I've never hit that many balls in my life, but I think it was something that was ingrained in her through tennis. And, you know, probably it wasn't even the cricket stuff. She took us to Pat Rafter Arena one night, and I just remember her serving at me, and every time I tried to hit the ball back, the racket would just fall out of my hand. And I probably didn't really appreciate how strong you had to be to get a serve like that back in. And that for me was something, I guess, away from cricket that I appreciate, was Ash sort of taking us back into her world a little bit, even though at that time she was trying to get away from it.
And she'd obviously been a professional for so long. Did she bring that work ethic to cricket, and did that rub off on you, do you think?
She definitely brought that work ethic to cricket. You know, she was always there before trainings, hitting balls, and I think she just enjoyed having people around. I think, you know, tennis can get very lonely being so individual, and I think she enjoyed having people around to do her fitness stuff with, and just being around in that team environment. And, you know, you can see the way she goes about it now. She never talks about I, she talks about we, whether it's her and her team. And I think that's really special, you know, just the person she is. And, you know, I think that's why she's had so much success.
Did you feel pressure as the captain at the time to really welcome her in? Because she kind of said, yeah, it was lonely on the road, and she came into the team environment. You're a really welcoming team, but did you roll out the red carpet, particularly more for her?
I don't think so. I think Gemma threw that much banter at her. She just quickly thought that she needs to, you know, join in or fall off the bandwagon. And I think that's the beauty of her personality. You know, she's got good banter, and she can take it and give it back. And I don't even think you wouldn't have even known that she'd never been a part of a team environment before.
We got a little bit off topic there, DK, so I'm sorry about that, but we'll wrap it up. Delisa, DK, thank you very much for being a guest on the Heat Pod, and I think it was a cracking debut.
No worries. Thanks for having me.